Plato. Plato, not the Play-Doh you play with at the table with your kiddos. Plato. Wait, who's that guy? Now, that might seem like a silly question because essentially everybody knows who Plato is. He was taught under Socrates. He mentored Aristotle, and his philosophical thinking endured for what now thousands of years, because I believe he died in ancient Greece in 4th or 5th century BC. So a pre-Christian thinker. He's made famous for knowing or espousing this notion of the forms, that if you see a tree or a flower or a man or a horse or a building, that the perfection of that thing exists in an outside spiritual, in the ether form, of which we as men, either in building, try to replicate, or in nature, it espouses itself to a higher idea. Now, the reason to touch on Plato at this point isn't because, I mean, everybody knows at least about him, but one of the reasons I want to highlight him is to also touch on a manner in which the Reformed tradition of Christianity, I think, gets something right. It does happen for us on occasion. We get something right about the nature of man and the world, and we would say the common grace that God distributes. That is, the rain falls on the just and the unjust alike, and that the Reformed tradition holds that we will look for the truth everywhere, and we will make use of it in good faith wherever we find it. It's no wonder that, unlike you might find today in some methods or modes of schooling, we're not afraid of teaching our children the classics. That is, the early philosophers, history, pagan thinkers, and there is this insistence that Christians should, in essence, put up or shut up in the defense of our claims. And so engaging with philosophers and philosophy is just par for the course. I mean, even a guy like Dante, in writing his Inferno, and he gives a depiction of hell that I think is extra biblical, but nonetheless it's insightful. He places on sort of the top plane of hell, which isn't really hell, it's the land of the virtuous heathen, which is sort of like an after earth, under unterrestrial earth, a spiritualized earth. He puts uh, these philosophers there, Plato, Aristotle. I mean, he's led on his descent into hell as a good Roman Catholic by Virgil. And so I touch on Plato just to highlight a little bit of who he is, but also to say, as Christians, we need to understand the image of God in man, whether or not that individual is a believer, and the common grace of God that affords us to find, to seek, and to expect much wisdom and truth that we can then utilize without fear in understanding God and Christ and the way of the world better. All right, thanks for listening.